If you hear someone say your name in the woods, don't answer. Even if it sounds like your friend. Even if it sounds like your kid.
Help me.
Sound carries in strange ways out there, and some things learn how to use it. The United States has more than 84 million acres of national parks, and that's just the headline number. Add the national forests, BLM land, state wilderness, and the protected zones where the map turns into a suggestion. From a distance, it looks civilized. Trail signs, ranger stations, bright brochures. Up close, it's wet earth and cold stone, pine rot in your nostrils, and a silence that feels heavier the deeper you go. People show up for peace, for clarity, for that clean, primitive feeling of being small under big trees. And every year, some of them don't come back. Not all disappearances are mysterious. People fall. People freeze. People underestimate how fast weather can change at elevation. A twisted ankle can turn into a slow death if you're a few miles from help, and your phone is just a dead brick. That's the part everyone understands, because it's logical and it's comforting. It lets you believe the wilderness is fair. It punishes mistakes, not existence. But there's another category, the one that shows up in stories told quietly in parking lots after dark, or traded in survival forums by people who don't scare easily. The cases where the math doesn't work. A kid vanishes in seconds while adults are right there. A hiker is last seen on a clear trail and somehow ends up miles away across terrain that would shred a trained climber. Search teams find no blood, no ripped clothing, no drag marks, no tracks leading anywhere. Just a clean break, like someone erased a line from the page. Rangers and rescue crews will give you the official menu. Disorientation, hypothermia, animal attack, water crossings, accidental falls. And a lot of the time, they're right. But if you spend enough time listening, really listening, you hear what they say when they stop being careful. Some of them talk about off-trail people. Not ghosts, not aliens, people. The kind you don't want to imagine because it means the danger isn't random. It's choosing. Here's the theory that refuses to die. In certain stretches of public land, there are humans living outside the system. Not a lone hermit near a road. Not a homeless camp at the edge of town. Something older and deeper. People who slipped away decades ago. People who ran. People who were born out there and stayed out there. Generations learning the terrain like a second skeleton. Learning where you can move without snapping a twig. Where water is safe. Where a cliff face has handholds you'd never notice. Learning that tourists arrive soft, loud, and predictable. You can call it feral if you want. But that word makes it sound like a movie. This would be simpler than that. Hunger, cold, territory. A human animal adapting to the only rules that matter past the last trail marker. The reports that fit the pattern often begin the same way. A sudden feeling of being watched. Not paranoia, something physical. Your skin tightens. Your mouth goes dry. The hair at the back of your neck lifts like it heard a sound before you did. Then the forest goes quiet in a way that doesn't feel natural. Birds stop. Insects fade. Even the wind seems to hesitate. Biologists have a term for it. The predator silence. It's what happens when the food chain knows something is moving through it. Some hikers describe pale shapes slipping between trunks, too quick to focus on, always at the edge of vision. Others swear they heard movement paralleling them, footsteps that matched pace, then stopped the instant they stopped. There's a particular detail that shows up again and again, the absence of human noise. No talking, no coughing, no accidental clumsiness, just the sense of an intelligence that learned not to announce itself. One of the most haunting public cases is the disappearance of Dennis Martin in 1969 in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. He was 6 years old. It was daytime. He was with family. He was playing a simple game, hide and seek, when he vanished. The search effort was massive. Volunteers, skilled teams, dogs, helicopters, bad weather, harsh terrain, and still, nothing that neatly explained how a child could be there 1 minute and gone the next. Official explanations float around the edges: accident, animal, abduction, but the center remains an empty space that never got filled. And it's in that empty space that the whisper stories thrive. Stories of children found later describing a bear man, or a hairy man, or someone who carried them and fed them berries. Officials tend to file those accounts under trauma and imagination because it's easier than admitting the alternative, that a child might have been handled, transported, and kept alive by someone who knew the backcountry better than any ranger. Then there are the objects people argue about. Strange remnants deep in the woods that don't match the official history of the area. A set of steps in the middle of nowhere, not connected to a foundation. A crude shelter tucked under rock, built to hide smoke and light. Old scraps of fabric that look too domestic to be hunting debris. Signs of fires where no one is supposed to camp. Most of it has normal explanations if you really want them. But when you stack them together, the picture becomes harder to ignore. Because think about the advantage. If someone lived off-trail, they wouldn't need to chase you. They'd wait. Trails funnel people the same way rivers funnel water. Viewpoints, campsites, shortcuts, predictable points of pressure. You show up with bright gear, loud voices, the confidence of a person who believes help is a phone call away. They show up with none of that. They show up with time. The twist isn't that something inhuman is out there. The twist is that it could be human, and that makes it worse. A bear doesn't plan. A storm doesn't watch you from behind a tree. A person can do both. So here's the part you won't see on park brochures. There are moments in the woods when you feel a boundary you didn't know existed. The trail is bright, open, almost friendly. Step off it, even 10 yards, and the world changes. The air cools. The ground turns soft with old needles. The smells get older. Damp bark, fungus, something faintly sour. The light doesn't reach as well. And you realize how quickly you can become a thing that belongs to the forest more than it belongs to civilization. If you feel that predator silence, don't explain it away. If your instincts are screaming that you're being observed, don't argue with your own body. Don't run blindly. Don't shout someone's name into the trees like you're issuing an invitation. Just backtrack. Get to the trail. Get to open space. Keep moving like you're leaving on purpose, not fleeing. And if you ever see something that looks human but moves wrong, low, fast, too controlled, don't try to prove you're brave. Don't raise your phone like your little camera is a weapon. And above all, don't lock eyes. Because in the wild, eye contact is a challenge. And if the thing watching you is human, it may have spent its whole life learning exactly what to do when a challenge appears. So the question isn't whether people vanish in America's parks. They do. The question is this: when the forest takes someone in seconds, without a sound, without a trace, are you sure it was the forest that did the taking?